Well, hi-ho folks, and welcome back to the adventures of Turwinkle, the Gnome Mage. Well, hi Turwinkle.
Hi there.
Are you all set for tonight, sir?
Affirmative.
Well, great, because tonight you are on a very special date, aren't you?
Indubitably.
Oh, great. And that is a date with Cayll. Now, as you folks will see in a future episode of the Tournament of Ages, Turwinkle was invited to take part in the date auction. And Cayll of the Dor Serrar won that auction. She paid an outrageous amount of 25,000 gold for this wonderful date here tonight. And so what we're going to do is we are going to treat her to a wonderful, wonderful seafood dinner here at the Lakeshire Inn in Redridge. And we're going to talk all about her character. We're going to find out all about her story, a little bit about her, and some great advice for you other role players here on MoonGuard, and talk about how you can role play a wonderful character here in the World of Warcraft. And so with that, we are awaiting our awesome date. And so as soon as she arrives, Turwinkle's got a secret little present for her that he has purchased. And we're going to have a fun time here tonight. So with that, we will be back when our date arrives. Alrighty, folks, our date has arrived, and she looks lovely, doesn't she? She is a wonderful 100 level Night Elf Mage. Her name is Cayll of the Surfault Dieb of Dor Serrar, and is a wonderful, wonderful role player. And so Turwinkle has a little gift for her, and let us pull that out here. Our bag. Oh, it's actually not in our bags, folks. Turwinkle already had it ready to go. Oh, but because we are cross-realmed, Turwinkle's going to have to mail that to my toon over on MoonGuard, so we can get that to her over there at MoonGuard. But as you can see, Turwinkle, as is evident, Turwinkle does have a red rose that we will roleplay that he gave to her. So I can't, unfortunately, Cayll, I cannot get to Cayll in the game. Now, as you folks can tell, Cayll does not have a mic, and so we are going to be reading all of Cayll's responses to our questions tonight. But she has a wonderful roleplay, and she really does a great job with her roleplay, and Turwinkle's very excited for this date. So with that, Turwinkle gave her the rose, and now, folks, we are going to head in to the restaurant here, and we are going to have a lovely, lovely dinner. And so Turwinkle is being the gentleman and allowing the lady to go in first. He's going to open here, folks. He's holding open the door for the lovely Cayll to enter. All right, folks. Well, when we come back, they're going to be seated in the restaurant at their table that Turwinkle has reserved for them. And so we will see you folks when we get there. Alrighty, folks. Well, as you can see, we've got our table here by the fire. We've been enjoying a wonderful bass dinner, fresh bass dinner, caught directly from the lake outside here in Redridge, and just really been enjoying our conversation. And so the first question that we asked Cayll was, how long has she been playing Cayll in the game? Why did she choose the Night Elf race to play? And how did she come up with her name? And so Cayll has written a wonderful answer here, and it says this. She says, I've been playing Cayll since about the release of Highmaul, so not very long. The exact months and days I'm not sure of, but it's only been about 8 months. The reason I chose a Night Elf for Cayll is entirely for RP purposes. I knew a lot about all the other races' culture and a little bit about, and very little about the Kaldori Night Elves, so I thought the best idea was jump headfirst into it and roleplay with other people, experienced elf roleplayers. Mostly, I thought they were cool and didn't know enough about them. The name Cayll was conjured after some heavy brainstorming with a friend while using the randomize function. It was a 30-minute process of making a name that was either short and sounded good or was able to be shortened into a good-sounding nickname. I've had too many characters that all had terrible nicknames. So wonderful answer, and so excellent, Cayll. So folks, when we come back, we are going to find out what her storyline is, what the storyline is behind Cayll. And so we'll be right back with that great answer. Alrighty folks, Turwinkle has ordered a fresh bottle of Fen Bushberry wine, his favorite. It goes lovely with the meal. And Cayll has been regaling him with her past, her story. And so this is what Cayll has to say about her storyline. Cayll was born to a Caldori couple, a sentinel, and a stay-at-home dad. Her mother, like any normal sentinel, wanted Cayll to grow up into a soldier just like her. Cayll wanted that as well. She was raised to fight, forced to do drills, exercise, train, and a lot of things. Sadly, she never got the hang of how to properly wield a weapon. She was always battered down by her opponents and made for a poor warrior. Still, Cayll had the drive instilled in her to be a productive member of Caldori society. So she tried her hand at druidism when they began accepting women. She didn't have the knack for staying in tune for nature either, though. Another failure. Finally, the Highborn returned to Darnassus and Ashenvale after being exiled. At this point, Cayll was desperate, so she found a Highborn master and clung to him for lessons, becoming a servant in exchange for teachings. She quickly rose up and became a full-fledged student, finally finding her true calling as a mage. She was given an arcane tattoo across her upper chest as a reward to appease her, due to her wanting markings like all the other Caldori women she had grown up with. So a wonderful, wonderful storyline here for Cayll. And so folks, when we come back, we're going to find out a little bit about her MRP. Now again, as I cannot see her MRP from being cross-realmed, she's going to fill us in a little bit about what you folks would find when you look at her MRP. So we'll be right back with that. Alrighty folks, well, they're enjoying their mid-meal. Some wonderfully fresh bread baked in Westfall has been delivered, and it's going great with our Fen Bushberry wine and our bass dinner here. And Cayll is talking about her appearance, so what folks look at when they click her MRP and how she has described her character. And so Cayll says, Cayll is a Caldori mage apprentice in her late 700s. Her eyes have a slight bluish magical tint to the glow, and she's 7 feet and 3 inches tall. She has a near blue-purple skin with no apparent scars or birthmarks, very smooth, unfreckled. She has waist-length blue hair that is incredibly well-maintained, cleaned every day. She carries a scent of blueberries, which mostly comes from her hair. Most of her physique is hidden behind the heavy-set, high-born-styled robes. They're incredibly fancy, and some might say gaudy. They have bits and baubles hanging off them and unique designs knitted into them. She carries a belt around her base, which has many satchels for keeping regents inside of, and of course she has her glowing rune tattoo near her collarbone that can sometimes be seen through her robe due to the amount of energy it gives off. So an awesome, well-given description of her character. And so when you click that MRP, you'll be able to see that's what she has written. So she's done an excellent job on her MRP. And so next, we're going to get to learn a little bit about Cayll in real life and find out about all the things that she does outside the game that we all love, and that's World of Warcraft. Alrighty folks, and we are back. And we are talking about Cayll outside of the game, a little bit about her. Because again, we always want to break that stereotype of what a role player looks like in real life. We're not all just 40-year-old guys living in mom and dad's basement eating Cheetos all day, but we all come from different backgrounds, different professions, different genders, different age types. And so we asked Cayll a little bit about her in real life, and this is what she had to say. She says, I just traveled across country to get out of the middle of nowhere to get access to a larger city where I can get a job or higher learning. My current goal is to receive training to become a medical technician of some kind, X-ray tech, MRI operator, those sorts of careers. Earlier, during, and a little after high school, I had a job as a beauty supply clerk in a small store. As for hobbies, I deeply enjoy gaming in all its aspects. I typically enjoy video gaming because of its cooperative and competitive aspects. I occasionally play tabletop games like D&D and Pathfinder or board games. I also love running to keep fit and explore the area around me. But mostly I spend my free time on video games due to how fun they are and how fun the communities become. And that's very true, and I think really Cayll hits it on the head here, and she doesn't want to feel like this is a stereotype, but it certainly isn't, and it's very indicative of the age we live in. We are able through video games like World of Warcraft to make friendships not only in the area that you live in, but across the world. And I think taking that into consideration, that we build these great communities, and they're so much fun to be involved in, because not only do we participate with one another in the game, but you'll find that a lot of folks participate out of character as well and are very good friends in and out of game. And so I think that is a perfect example of a wonderful player here on World of Warcraft who enjoys running and spending his time outside the game and playing games outside of World of Warcraft, but enjoys the community that she's a part of. So an excellent job there, Cayll. And so when we come back, we are going to get some advice from Cayll for you new role players out there, and maybe for you veteran role players as well, and talk about how she sees the game and how you can participate in it and maybe avoid some pitfalls that she might have encountered along her way as a new role player. So when we come back, again, we are going to get some great advice from Cayll for you folks out there. So we'll be right back with that. Alrighty, folks, and we are back. And so now we're going to get some advice from Cayll for you new role players out there. And she says, sadly, the RP community can be extremely cliquey and hard to get into. My advice is to try and find a friend that is open to the idea of making a character, try to have some fun with them. Make a short backstory for the two of you and experience the world of whatever game you're playing in. For a while, do a little adventuring, try to take a few of the simpler quests in character for the fun of it. When you get a feel for how your character acts, take them to a capital city and mess around. Walk up to someone who's not doing anything and say they've got a funny hood on their head or a crooked nose. Start something memorable and have fun. Once you really nailed your character's attitude and personality, join up with a guild you like, browse the forums, watching trade chat if you can stand it, or watch Turwinkle's videos on guilds. Oh, thank you very much. And once that's done, you're officially a full-fledged role player and have access to everything WoW Roleplay offers. Which is an excellent advice. Yeah, give your character a tryout first. Kind of build a little story around them, and then go and find a guild that fits that story. And exactly like the way she says, you can either check out my videos here, or you can go to the forums. You can look at the guild finder as well and find a guild that fits your roleplay. And so, folks, with that, we will come back with a final shout out from Cayll as we finish our wonderful oysters and clams and mussels with a little lemon juice on them and some wonderful lemon meringue pie. Again, this date has been thrilling for Turwinkle. He has really enjoyed it, and hopefully Cayll has as well. So when we come back, we're going to get some shout outs from Cayll to the folks that she loves within the game. Alrighty, folks. Well, we are enjoying a fine cup of coffee, and Cayll here has a wonderful cup of tea. And we are talking about shout-outs, and she has a wonderful shout-out here. And she says, well, I love my guildmates. Savell and Jalcenter make for excellent guild leads. My best friend who helped me find the forum post and your video, Sadriel or Aylin, I see. Ta Levine for being generous and helping me with my mount situation. I'd list everyone in the guild, but that would take a while. Like I said, I love everyone I can roleplay with, and I'd like to thank the Tournament of Ages people for creating such a fun event for the community. So a wonderful shout out from the wonderful Cayll. And so, folks, when we come back, Turwinkle's going to give his final goodnight kiss to this wonderful, wonderful role player here on this awesome date. And we're going to say goodbye to Cayll and give our final thoughts on this awesome role player here in the World of Warcraft. So we'll be right back with that very, very special moment. Alrighty, folks. Well, Turwinkle has portaled Cayll home after their awesome date. It has been a wonderful time spending the dinner learning all about Cayll and her awesome roleplay. She really has a great story, a wonderful sense about her roleplay as Cayll. She does a great job here on MoonGuard. And so, folks, if you see Cayll, do give her a big hello. She, again, has a wonderful character here in Dor Serrar. She also is a great person out of the game and has some wonderful advice for you new role players as well. So we thank her very much for all of those tonight. And Turwinkle is going to take her hand gently in his. He kisses it gently and thanks her for a wonderful evening. And so with that, folks, we are going to hearth on back to give our final thoughts on this awesome role player and this awesome role play of Cayll of the Dor Serrar. Well, what a wonderful date, wasn't it, Turwinkle?
Affirmative.
So let us give Cayll a big thank you, sir, for not only perching us at the date auction, but allowing us to ask her all those wonderful questions all night.
I am in your debt.
We certainly are, Cayll. And so, folks, if you like this interview, click that like button. If you'd like to comment on this episode or on any of our other episodes, please do so below. Let us know what you liked and what you didn't. And finally, if you would like to subscribe, well, we would love to have you. So hit that subscription button today. Well, Turwinkle, an excellent job as always, sir, and you are quite the gentleman tonight. And Turwinkle, we will see you next time.
Farewell.
Farewell, Turwinkle. Farewell.